What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Sneaky because I've been getting more and more comments. I've been seeing more and more tweets about people talking about Sneaky, asking when he's going to be returning, asking if he's going to be returning, saying they think Sneaky should play on this team, or that this team would be so much better, or more popular, or more interesting, or the LCS as a whole would be better with Sneaky in it. And I think there's a lot of interesting points to talk about here, but also I have a pretty interesting video and clip to show you guys that could tell us a little bit more about the future of Mr. Sneaky. But first, I wanted to say a quick word from today's sponsor, which is Thrive Fantasy. They set up this really dope landing page of Thrive Fantasy by I Am Germ. I think it's so cool, and I'm so excited to be partnering up with them. They are a daily fantasy esports website and app where you can play, and honestly, this weekend they have a really cool thing going on. They have the I Am Germ LCS Friday free roll, getting me in there a little bit. This is cool to see, and for absolutely free. The entry prize is free. They're going to be giving away a total of $100 worth of cash prizes. First place is going to get $20. They're paying out 48 total prizes, total places, so this is a really sweet deal, and all you got to do, it just takes a couple of minutes to select 5 of the 10 props that they're providing, earn as many points as you can, watch the LCS, have a fun time doing it, and then again, potentially win some cash prizes. One of the things I'm looking at this week is they have Diamond over or under half a death against Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians has been doing very well recently. I think Diamond is going to die at least one time, if not multiple times. So I'm going to be taking the over in that one and hopefully getting 70 easy points. But again, if you guys want to play, definitely check out the first link in the description below to get signed up and join the I Am Germ LCS Friday free roll. Also, if you want to put some money on, Thrive Fantasy is going to match your first deposit all the way up to $100, which is a really cool deal. Again, use the first link in the description below or use code GERM, and remember to play on Thrive Fantasy and prop up. With that being said, let's get right into today's video. Again, we're talking about Sneaky. He has been out of the league for almost 2 full years now. We last saw him in 2019 at Cloud9. We saw him at Worlds, where they didn't have the best ending to the season, and a lot of people were blaming Sneaky on it, and obviously Cloud9 ends up moving on. They end up going to Sven, but you see here that this guy, I don't know why he's muted. I must have actually muted him or something. I'm just now realizing that, because I follow him. Like, well, I don't know why I would follow him and have him muted. It doesn't even make sense. But he has 810,000 followers. He is very popular. He has a huge fan base on YouTube, huge fan base on Twitch, huge fan base on Twitter. He had a huge fan base from Cloud9, and people have been missing him. People keep talking about him. People want to see more and more of him, but again, we have not had that luxury recently, and people are wondering when he's coming back. When is he going to pop up, especially now that Cloud9 didn't make it to Worlds last year, which was not something that they did very often, if ever. Did they ever miss Worlds with Sneaky on the team? I know people have kind of started the hashtag and started the tweets and stuff of no Sneaky, no Worlds, kind of being mad at Cloud9 for moving on from Sneaky, and then, saying that they're kind of paying the price. And then right now, we see Cloud9 sitting tied for 3rd in the LCS right now, and there's a chance they don't make it to Worlds this year either, even though they won an LCS title in 2020 spring. They won an LCS title in 2021 spring. Pretty crazy, but yes, they have been able to find more domestic success, but again, with Sneaky on the team, they made it to Worlds a bunch. They made it out of groups a bunch. They made it to a semifinals once. And Cloud9 hasn't really found that same international success since then. But the clip I want to talk about today was this clip from February. I've actually had this on my list for a long time. I keep like a notepad type thing of video ideas where, that's how I'm able to consistently put up so much content. I'm just able to consistently have so many discussion and talking points and stuff like that. And for whatever reason, I didn't make this video back in February, didn't make it in March, anything like that, but I was saving it. I knew this was a video I was definitely going to talk about eventually, just because Sneaky is so popular and he has so many fans, and I thought this was as good of a time as ever to talk about it. It explains a little bit about what's going on with Sneaky as far as the LCS goes, and honestly, I think it gives us a good insight to whether or not we will ever see Sneaky in the LCS again, and kind of what he's thinking. So let's watch this clip, let's see what he has to say, and then we can react to it a little bit.
Not gonna be that fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for this competitive year, I was looking out a bit into opportunities. And there were some. I mean, like, teams are interested.
So I think that is, first off the bat, really interesting. One, Sneaky is looking for offers. He is in communication with teams, which means not only is he interested, but teams are also interested. Again, we haven't seen him since 2019, but it doesn't sound like it is his own doing. It sounds like he is interested in coming back to the LCS, and it sounds like if he had it his way, he would be back in the LCS. And again, he's not out of the LCS because teams aren't interested, because he got no offers, because everyone thinks he sucks. There was some mutual communication between Sneaky and at least multiple LCS teams, which I think is really, really interesting, and I think is a pretty good sign for him to perhaps return to the LCS in the future, but we'll see what else he has to say.
But, I mean, like, with the fund cutting, like, basically I would be getting paid less than what I was getting paid on C9.
On C9, yeah.
In 2019, 2 years later.
Yeah.
So obviously there, the fund cutting he is talking about is the COVID-related fund cutting. Obviously the top teams have still been able to spend a ton of money. We've seen ridiculous contracts from guys like Perks, guys like Sword Art, stuff like that, the buyout for Perks. But the bottom teams have been hit very, very hard. The teams that, have the NBA money, stuff like that, especially, Golden Guardians, who was actually a really, really formidable playoff team last year, had to sell off most of their roster as their NBA team, their owners, their higher ups started telling them, hey guys, we're cutting the LCS funding this year because like fans couldn't go to NBA games, their owners were hurting, businesses in general were hurting, people were scared about the future. So at this time, even though teams were interested in Sneaky, they were interested in him at a severe discount because again, salaries have pretty much gone up year over year in the LCS, and Sneaky made some amount of money in 2019, and now 2 years later he's expecting at least the same amount of money, if not more, because he knows how popular he is, he thinks how good he is, and he knows that it's been 2 years and he sees the money that some other people are getting, and he also sees how Cloud9 was not able to make it to Worlds with him last year, even though, they thought Sven would be an upgrade, they thought they'd have a better team, and they've now spent all this money on a bunch of other players. So again, it's not like teams weren't interested, it's not like Sneaky wasn't interested, but again, if the money's not right, it's not going to happen. But is it just because of COVID? If COVID didn't happen, would some team have dropped a bag on Sneaky? Would he have been back in the LCS? There's no way to know for sure, but it's kind of sounding that way.
And yes, I don't think it's really worth it for me to even consider that as an option.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like cutting my pay and
being on a bad
being
team.
under the high stress, bad team. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Not
so.
that you can't make the team good, but you're definitely going to start out not super high synergy and
Yeah.
win rate.
So that's kind of interesting. I mean, it sounds like to me that if the money was right, he would actually be interested in maybe going to a bottom team and taking on some of that stress, taking on some of the extra responsibility and work. But like he says, he's making a ton of money off streaming, off all of his social media endeavors, off, all the money he made in his career. I'm sure he has investments. I'm sure he has stuff going on. He's making some good money. So he's not going to increase the stress and the workload in his life for a pay cut, which I don't really think anyone else out there would, me, you, anybody. But for a raise, he might do it. Or if there's less stress, if he can find his way onto a good team, he might do it. And again, Sneaky, a lot of people blamed him for Cloud9's failures at Worlds in 2019, but I also think Zeyzal was a lot to be blamed. I think, even if Sneaky did have one bad split or one bad year or one bad Worlds performance or whatever, I think his career has been so good that I think he deserves another shot. And also, his following is so massive. 800,000 followers on Twitter, so many people on Twitch, so many people on YouTube everywhere following him. And some of these bottom tier teams that are struggling in terms of fan bases, in terms of branding, in terms of making money, I think would have actually a sound investment dropping a ton of money on Sneaky and instantly, overnight, becoming one of the more popular teams in the LCS. They're not going to be TSM, they're not going to be Cloud9, they're not going to be Team Liquid overnight, but they could pass up Golden Guardians, they could pass up Immortals, they could pass up FlyQuest pretty damn easy just by having Sneaky on the roster. So again, COVID's not over, the fun cuts still aren't really over, but as teams start to get more and more desperate, as we hopefully eventually get out of these COVID times, as the world starts to go back to normal and funding starts to increase for some of these teams, I think it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities that we see Sneaky in the LCS again. Now, it sucks that he's not getting any younger. Maybe that's going to make him worse. Or the more time you're out of pro play, maybe the rustier you're going to get, whatever. So it kind of becomes more and more unlikely each year, but I really do think that Sneaky deserves another shot in the LCS, and I do think one of these lower tier teams should take a chance on him and spend some freaking money to grow a fan base, grow a brand, grow a team, and make your team better too, because I really don't think Sneaky is that bad, and I don't think he deserves all the hate he got. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Do you think we're ever going to see Sneaky in the LCS again? Do you think we should see Sneaky in the LCS again? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Consider checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/IamGerm. And remember to check out Thrive Fantasy. I would appreciate it so much if you guys did get signed up over there. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!